August 8th, 1973. What seemed like an ordinary night amongst friends quickly twisted into something far more sinister. Elmer Wayne Henley, Timothy Curley, and Rhonda Williams gathered at Dean Corll's house, unaware of the nightmare about to unfold. Laughter and music faded into terror as Curl revealed his true intentions, binding the teens, holding them at gunpoint. In that suffocating moment, fear and betrayal filled the room, and Henley faced a choice that would change everything. Welcome to the death of innocence.
This is a message from the Kenshin Department for Disease Containment. We advise you to pay close attention to the following information, as you may need to depend on it later. Thank you.
Welcome to the death of innocence, where we delve into the darkest corners of true crime history. I'm your host, Kimber,
I be Bud.
and today we're focusing on a chilling figure at the heart of the Houston mass murders, Elmer Wayne Henley. This is a story of manipulation, betrayal, and a young man caught in a web of unimaginable horror. Pause.
He's
I'm-
a bad guy.
I'm going to go ahead and put this in here because it's never too late and never too little. We're going to give you a listener warning. There is talks of grape. There's very detailed information about murder. And what else do we speak about here? Just heinous stuff that minors are doing. So if you're sensitive,
Yeah,
then don't
man.
listen.
Over there doing armpit
Stuff.
farts.
Armpit. Oh, God. Okay.
Heinous.
Heinous. Okay, so let's get into Elmer's early life. So Elmer Wayne Henley was born on May 9th, 1956, tourist gang in Houston, Texas. Growing up in a working class neighborhood, Henley's early life was marked by financial hardship and family instability. His father was often absent and his mother struggled to make ends meet. So let's see. Here it says Elmer was the eldest of four sons born to father Elmer Wayne Henley Sr. So
God
original.
dang, they just spreading this curse around to these motherfuckers. Elmer.
Elmer? Like that was
God
like the last
damn,
one,
bro.
Carol. Like then you got Elmer.
We already knew Elmer Fudd was angry as fuck. He over there with a burner all day trying to murk something. Dude is forever hunting. Like, what's going on, bro?
I said now.
That's what?
That wasn't that Elmer Fudd?
No, that's the Foghorn Leghorn, the chicken.
Oh.
Elmer Fudd is the hunting dude with the little funny
I
hat
got that wrong.
and the big ass rifle.
I got that wrong. And I see him with the red beard and the pointy hat. Yeah, sorry.
Red beard?
Yes, his beard was red. It was red.
Elmer Fudd don't have a beard. That's Yosemite Sam. See, you got all your characters fucked up.
Dang it. Wait.
Yeah, you need to watch some Hanna-Barbera for a minute and figure it out. I don't know.
I'm so ashamed of myself right now. I'm so ashamed. So anyway,
Somebody didn't have the Toon Channel,
I did have the Tune channel. It just didn't work all the time. It was staticky.
like porn.
Yeah.
Motherfucker watching the Scramble Toon Channel and shit.
And you always had your cousin or your brother over here going, be in the antenna, like, no, you gotta stay in there, right? Stay.
How you watching Scramble Tom and Jerry? That ain't right.
Look, sometimes the channels didn't always come in. Don't judge. This is a no judging. Well, we're judging, but this is a no judging zone.
So judging.
So not judging right now. Okay, so his father, Elmer Wayne Henley Sr., he was born September 24th, 1938, and died June 18th, 1986. He was kind of young. And his mother,
Wait, who died?
his dad, that's his dad's date of death.
Oh, okay.
And then his mother's name was Mary Pauline Henley. She was born May 4th. Oh my gosh. She was born on my mother's birthday.
Can you spell this last name?
Henley. Henley.
Ooh-wee.
And she was born on May 4th, 1937. I do not have a date of death for her. Henley Sr. was an alcoholic who physically abused his wife and children.
You know who else is named Henley?
Who?
Do you know? Do you know?
Oh, bruh.
You
Cut it.
are so slow. You are goofy.
I am kind of slow, but we don't need to talk about that. So, when Henley was 14 or 15, his parents divorced in 1970 and received custody, and his mother received custody of her four sons. Mary worked as a cashier at a parking lot. Henley, before the divorce, did well in school. He was considered an excellent student, but
See, I don't understand why motherfuckers get divorced. They want to just.
take
I
the
want
kids
all the kids. Like, bro, you got four
50
boys.
50, bro.
What you gonna do? Like, my mom had four boys. When we got to puberty age, all our dads came and got us, except for mine. But that's another story.
Yeah, that's another story. That's a sad story. So, Henley was known as a bright but troubled youth. He dropped out of high school to help support his family, taking on odd jobs wherever he could. Despite his circumstances, those who knew him described him as a polite and eager to please. So, a childhood friend had did an interview and they said Wayne was a good kid at heart. He had I I don't know if y'all just heard that.
I farted.
So, okay, a childhood friend said Wayne was a good kid at heart. He had a tough life, but he always tried to do right by his family. I think he just got caught up with the wrong people. So, like I said, before the divorce, he did well in school. He was considered an excellent student. But once Mary was a single mother, Henley started working little part-time jobs to help with household finances, which caused his grades to drop. At 15 years old, Henley dropped out of high school. Around this time, he started picking up criminal charges around 1971 for assault with a deadly weapon and in 1972 for burglary. So, while in high school, he met his future accomplice, David Brooks, who was
He's my best friend.
Yeah. Well, not really.
Yeah, they be playing circle jerk and murdering people.
Nah, so he was 1 year older than Henley. Though through being truant and hanging out, Brooks introduced Henley to his next future accomplice, an older man whose house they frequented by the name of Dean Coral. At first, Henley admired Coral for being hardworking, but soon realized Coral was gay, and Brooks was hustling himself a queer. This is not what I'm saying. This is what the facts say. So Henley's life took a dark turn when he was introduced to Dean Coral by David Brooks. Coral was known as the Candyman. He was a master manipulator who preyed on vulnerable youth.
All right, time out. Pause right there. Nah, you're not gonna just get that off. He was named what?
The Candyman.
And this man was allowed to be in a neighborhood with people.
Yeah.
Anybody named Candyman, you already know that's sus as fuck, especially in the black community. We gonna be like, nah, bro.
It seemed like everybody in the
We scared of
neighborhood
Candyman.
knew.
Nah, it's
yeah,
the
you don't
candy.
go
It's
around
the
him.
candy house or the candy lady.
No.
But ain't no Candyman.
So wait, in 1971 was Candyman out?
No,
So Candyman wasn't invented yet.
he was the first one.
So are you telling me that they made the movie Candyman about this guy but made it a black guy?
No, he's just a sick fuck.
Okay. So he preyed on vulnerable youth. He initially intended Henley to be his victim, but he quickly recognized Henley's potential as an accomplice. Okay? So that's why I said they wasn't besties. Brooks was in it for the money, and he was trying to send him over to Dean.
So first he was for sale.
Yeah.
He was recruiting ass for him.
Yes.
Stanky gay man. Ugh.
Don't say it like that.
He is a stanky gay man. You over there molesting on little boys. You doing the Epstein. He was recruiting young ladies to go out and get young ladies of their age from their school and come back and do stuff. He doing the same thing.
Kind of.
It ain't nothing wrong with being gay, but he's still a nasty gay man because he's taking stank butt.
So I'm over you. I'm over you. So Henley's involvement with Coral escalated rapidly. Initially, he was tasked with luring boys to Coral's residence under the false pretenses such as promises of parties or rides. However, his role soon expanded to active participation in the abduction and murders.
God damn.
So in late 1971, Henley began spending time in Curl's company, who told Henley he was involved with organized theft, to which Curl, Henley, and Brooks had burglarized several homes. Henley was paid for these burglaries. Curl was testing Henley's character and asked him if he had to murder as a requirement, would he be willing to do so? And Henley replied, yes.
I mean, why? Why am I gonna kill somebody for you? We trying to make money in this? What does that got to do with murking people?
Well, if you're robbing places and you're like, hey, if somebody else to get murked, you're willing to do it? He said, yeah, I'm willing to do it. I'm down for the cause.
No. If somebody got to get murked, you can do it. I'm not gonna be there.
See?
Bye, nigga.
So you're not down for the cause. You're not down for the cause. You said, no, no, I'm not catching a charge for you.
I don't like if you gotta rob people to survive. I get that, but what the fuck you got to kill them for?
Because they saw your face? I don't know. I'm not a murderer or a robber.
You just make yourself hot, and now they gotta come and get you.
Well, not if anybody didn't see you.
If you were just robbing, you can get away robbing a lot longer than you can killing. That's all I'm saying.
But if nobody saw you, then you're not going to be hot.
But if it's a body,
But if they don't know it was you, boom. If you killed everybody that potentially saw you, how the cops going to know it was you?
listen.
What did Eminem say? Me and
listen,
Dre sit
you
next to a
keep
burnt
doing
down house.
You keep doing that, you're gonna be a serial killer, and authorities are gonna be looking for
With a
it.
can full of gas and a
You-
handful of matches, and still one found out.
Just like that.
Right here.
And you're gonna be in jail talking about
Mama!
No.
Nigga, you ain't sticking that shitty ass dick up in Eric, nigga.
R. William.
Maybe he just calls himself Erica and his name is Eric.
That's just nasty, bro.
So, in 1971, Henley Henley became aware of a pattern of disappearances in his neighborhood of Houston Heights. Since December 1970, at least 8 boys between the ages of 13 and 17 had gone missing. Okay? Henley was actually friends of 2 of the missing 13-year-old boys who had disappeared May 29th of 1971 on their way to a local swimming pool.
So wait, he sold him to dude?
No. So David Hilligeist and Gregory Malley-Winkle. Those were the 2 dudes that he knew.
Why you read bro name like that? Mally Winkle. You did him
Look
dirty.
at how it's written.
Listen.
Look,
I
it's
understand.
right
Give
there.
him a little respect.
Look at how his name is spelled. Malley.
Say Molly Winker or
No.
something. You just gonna
Malley-Winkle. Is that
Yeah,
better?
I like that.
Gregory Malley-Winkle.
Better.
Okay. So Henley actually assisted in their search parties. Because they
But-
was his friends.
But he has something to do with them coming up missing?
Yes.
Dun dun dun.
So a little foreshadowing. Henley later confessed to restraining and in some cases killing the victims himself. He was present for many of the murders, witnessing their horrific acts committed by Coral. The psychological toll on Henley was immense as he grappled
No,
with the
let's
reality.
go back to psychology told.
Don't judge my words. As he grappled with the reality of his actions and Coral's manipulation. I don't even know if I'm actually saying this man's name right. Coral.
No, don't do that. We're gonna go back to Carl from the last one.
Coral.
It was Coral. I was
Carl,
like, I'm
Coral.
making me Carl.
Coral.
I was serious about that too. I would not let my name be Coral.
It was Carol.
Whatever. It's gonna be Carl.
It's Carl. Carl. That's what it's Carl. You gotta say it like that. Carl. It actually, if you listen to it real hard, it sounds like Carol. It's just Carl. Okay, so an expert interview clip from a criminal psychologist. You like that?
I don't know what the fuck that was.
A psychologist. So the psychologist states Henley was deeply manipulated by Coral, who used a combination of threats and rewards to control him.
Sound it out.
Rewards.
Yes, there we go. You get a star.
Henley's involvement can be seen as a tragic, gosh darn it,
I'm taking the star.
tragic example of how vulnerable individuals can be coerced into committing heinous acts. Look, I'm sick and tired of the way my mouth forms words at this point. I'm over it.
Yeah, you just gotta blame the retainer. It's okay.
I don't have it in.
Dun dun dun. The plot thickens.
Okay, so let's do an introduction to Dean Coral. So in the winter of 1971, when Henley was 15 years old. What?
I didn't say nothing.
Good God. When Henley was 15 years old, Brooks lured Henley to Curl's house under the guise that he could participate in a deal where he could make some money. Henley apparently was actually an intended victim of Curl's. While at Curl's, Henley, I'm just going to call the fool Dean, because I'm getting sick and tired of saying
Everybody calls the dude Dean.
I'm just getting sick of my mouth can't pronunciate Coral. Coral.
Dean Coral.
All right, I'm going to just say it like that from now on. Coral. Okay, so
You
Henley,
gotta tell the audience it's spelled
Corll.
Corll.
Coral.
That's why she can't say it.
Coral. Coral. So Henley apparently was actually an intended victim of Coral's. While at Coral's, Henley was told by Coral that he belonged to a criminal organization based in Dallas, Texas, which recruited young boys for a child sex slavery ring. Both Henley and Brooks were offered $200 for every boy they brought to Coral. Now, okay, run it back. 1971, $200.
What a time.
But, bruh, $200 in 1971, that was a lot of money.
Yeah, you can just get boy butt.
Well, they probably didn't think people were going to get murdered. They were like, oh, you're just going to get your butthole.
Well, that's what he told
So-
them. He told them that they was going to be...
He said child sex slavery ring.
What does that entail?
That doesn't mean murder.
Okay, but I wasn't saying murder.
Well, I'm just saying. They probably was like, it's cool. $200.
I don't know, bro. You gotta... I mean, the kid that picked on you all year, yeah, bro. I'm taking you to Dean.
So at first, Henley didn't take the bait. He just ignored it. But early in 1972, Henley decided to help find a boy for Curl, due to being tight on cash.
You can just say Dean.
Home base, Dean's home, is where Henley and Dean came up with their master plan. They would lure a young boy to Dean's, where Henley would cuff himself.
Am I immature? Because every time I hear master, I just like bait just comes out.
Hate?
Bait.
Bait?
Yeah, like say master.
Oh, I'm not doing it.
Oh, you a hater. I'm
not
immature. I
doing it.
just had to stop you just for that.
That's really immature.
I just...
Wow, I didn't know you were that immature.
And now the audience knows.
I've been married to him for 2 years, and I didn't know he was that immature.
Tell everybody my business.
I'm just saying. So the plan was Henley would handcuff himself with their hands behind their back, then release himself, then convince the boy to cuff himself. So he would handcuff himself, and then he would unhandcuff himself and be like,
he had
okay.
the key.
Yeah, and he'd be like, you do it.
And of course, the little boy didn't have the key.
Right. So,
They was on some John Wayne Gacy shit. That's some shit he did.
really?
Yeah.
I have to look into that one a little bit more. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's that John Wayne Gacy, right? That's the Gacy. I
So-
think that's like in the book.
That he would trick you?
Yeah, in the little pedo rapist handbook.
Oh. So now that they had a plan, it was time to put it into action. Yeah, we got handcuffs. We're going to trick people into putting these handcuffs on. Yes. That's my notes. So Henley and Dean drove around Houston
Explaining
Heights.
it to me like I care.
I wasn't explaining it to you. I was explaining it to the audience.
Audience over there like, what are these crispy sounds in my ear?
My notes. So Henley and Dean drove around Houston Heights, and at the corner of 11th Street and Steudwood, they found their victim. Does that say Steudwood?
Stewed wood.
Steudwood. So Henley persuaded the boy to get into Dean's Plymouth GTX. Then Henley lured the boy to Dean's Schuler Street apartment under the promise of smoking some ganja.
Bro, they could have got me, man. They could have got me.
You could have been God. You would have been like, some ganja. Heck yeah.
Some
I'm
weed.
down.
I be bud.
For
Of course,
free?
I want to go smoke some marijuana.
Murder Jane. So at home base, which we discussed earlier, is Dean's house. Henley convinced the teen into the handcuff trap. Once cuffed, Henley watched as Dean attacked the boy and tied his feet and taped his mouth.
Diabolical.
Yeah, that's a super setup. Henley,
Boy was scared as fuck.
Mama!
I bet. So Henley left with the thought the boy would be sold off into sex slavery, and as promised, he was paid his measly $200. The identity of Henley's first victim is unknown, because technically that is his victim, because he lured him.
Oh well, he took part in it, definitely.
Yeah.
But all right, pause. Let's pause right now. This dude Dean, what did he do that he could afford $200 a body?
They didn't really get into that. He was in the mafia. Apparently, that's what he would tell people. He was in the crime.
No, he was not in the
Circles.
mafia. They would not tolerate this guy.
That's what he said.
He would have been dead. So, what did he do? Did he work for the city or something? He
Look-
seemed like one of them dudes that probably worked for the city.
I really wasn't interested in finding out about Dean. I'm sorry, but
I was just
looking-
curious because this nigga's got money. He got
Well,
the shmoney.
He got shmoney, and he had a Plymouth GTX. Anything with GTX got to be a nice car.
Because $200 in 1970 something is what, like $600 today? $700?
Yeah, with inflation. Yeah,
Crazy.
crazy. So, this section is titled "Participation in Killings." So now he is escalated. I said it right.
I don't think so, but okay.
Escalated,
All right.
elevated, escalated.
All right.
Okay, so March 24th of 1972, Henley, Dean, and Brooks persuaded 18-year-old Frank Aguirre, a friend of theirs, to come smoke weed with the trio. At the home base,
weed trick again. Bro.
yes. Apparently
It's
it
making
never
me
fails.
mad because I would have.
You would have been a goner. You and all your friends.
I wouldn't. I don't know because I don't think I would have did no stupid ass handcuff shit. But if you doing some cool shit like, oh look, they don't the handcuffs. Look,
They probably smoked the weed with him first.
yeah, you're high. You know what I'm saying? You probably fuck around like, oh, I
It
want
was
to
like,
see.
let me see if you can get out.
And then as soon as you got them on, it's done.
Clank, clank. You're done. Trap set. Yeah. So,
Mama!
really? So, while there, they smoked, then convinced Frank to handcuff himself. Then, Dean dragged Frank to his torture board, where Dean raped, tortured, and strangled Frank before burying him at High Island Beach. Henley says he tried talking Dean out of raping and killing Frank, but Dean adamantly refused. This is when Dean told Henley the unknown boy that Henley abducted had been killed, and so would Frank. A little bit of foreshadowing. Dean rented a boat shed at Silver Bell Street in southwest Houston, where 8 bodies were later found by police. Okay, so eventually, Brooks and Dean told Henley that his childhood friend David Hilligeist and swimming companion Gregory. Wait a second. I forgot.
What?
I forgot how I said it before. Mally Hinckley. Hinkle. Sorry, not Hinckley. Hinkle.
What?
Hinkle. Gregory Mally Hinkle. Because you told me to put some respect on his name.
Yeah, put some respect on his
Okay. Had been killed by the pair and buried in the boat shed as well. So he finally found out what happened to his friends.
What?
Yeah. So after Frank came in, he was like, please don't kill him, please. And they was like, nigga, your little buddy, we killed them too.
All right. So this whole time, did nobody take Henley's booty?
Pause. Nope. Because he figured it out. Remember, he said he's hustling himself a queer. That's not my words. I would never say anything like that.
But what I'm saying is, dude was not a bad looking young man. If this dude Dean is just going crazy taking booties
That's Elmer?
and he
Okay,
had
he's
help,
bad looking.
you know what I'm saying? I don't know, bro.
And that's Dean right there on the phone?
That's him when he old. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
Well, no. Dean dies.
Yeah. Oh yeah. How do you know?
Dun dun dun.
You
Plot
booger
twist.
wolf. You booger wolf. Man, now I feel like there ain't even no point in telling the story. You supposed to be intrigued. You already know what's gonna happen.
You ain't telling me.
Still, I'm telling it to you. So, despite finding out of the betrayal, Henley still assisted in
Look, now
abductions
she
and
got an
murders
attitude.
of young boys. Less than a month later, Henley and Brooks lured another friend, more like acquaintance, of their 17-year-old Mark Scott back to home base in the promise of a party. Just like Frank, Mark was raped. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that word. Raped, tortured, and strangled to death and buried at High Island Beach. And the next two victims followed Billy Jean Balch Jr. and Johnny Ray Delhomme, who also got buried at High Island Beach on May 21st.
Houston is not sitting there like, hey, where's my children going?
Everybody's just thinking to run away.
It's
We'll
just
get
like-
into it further.
It's just like John Wayne Gacy.
We'll just get into it further. So in June of 1972, Dean moved the home base to a home at Westcott Tower. Not even a month later, 17-year-old Stephen Sickman was murdered. October 3rd, 1972, Henley and Coral abducted and murdered two boys named Wally Simino and Richard Hembry. Brooks later confessed Henley accidentally shot Hembry in the mouth. Brooks states, just came in the room where the two boys were bound, waving the .22, and accidentally shot one of the boys in the jaw.
Did he die? So Henley caught a body?
No, Dean did that.
Oh, okay.
But Brooks, his homeboy, no, I'm sorry.
Now I'm confused again. What?
Henley did accidentally shoot him. I'm sorry, I didn't read my notes.
That's what I'm saying,
yeah.
bro. So I'm saying,
I don't
did
be
he catch
listening
a
to
body?
myself reading. Yes, he on accident because he came in waving at 22 and accidentally shot the boy in the face, in the jaw. So later the same day, the two boys were strangled and later buried at the boat shed. So no, he wasn't killed with the shot. He was strangled.
But he had to go.
Yeah, because they already shot him. So they were buried at the boat shed. Sometime in November 1972, 18-year-old Willard Carmen Branch Jr. was emasculated. That sounds like a whole lot going on there. He was emasculated and shot, then buried at the boat shed. Also in November 1972, 19-year-old Richard Kempner was abducted on his way to call his fiancée on a payphone. By Kempner's murder and burial, Henley had assisted in at least 9 abductions and murder of teenage boys. On February 1st, 1973, Henley did a solo job and abducted and killed 17-year-old Joseph Lyles, who had temporarily moved to Mount Pleasant in 1973.
Why? He over there just got the thirst now, huh?
Yeah, well, maybe he was still guaranteed the $200. I don't know.
But he said he did it on his own. He just probably didn't like dude.
Yeah. So, like you said, he got the itch now. Due to being a high school dropout during the spring of 1973, Henley's application to enlist in the U.S. Navy was rejected on June 20th of 1973. Thank the Lord.
Thank
Maybe
God.
not. Maybe
Don't
not.
teach that man how to kill.
Right.
Shit.
Even though a later IQ test revealed a score of 126, he had a limited education. 126 is pretty freaking smart, isn't it?
He's borderline genius.
Yes. So Henley later stated in an interview in 2010, I couldn't leave anyway. If I did go, I knew Dean would go after one of my little brothers, who he always liked a little too much. So he didn't leave and go and listen to the Navy. Also, he was happy because he was like, the nigga was going to get my brothers. So I had to stay here so he wouldn't get my brothers. Or you could have just told your mom and just told your brothers not to go around anybody associated with this dude.
Yeah, I mean, send an anonymous letter or some shit
Right.
while you in the Navy or whatever, bro. You ain't got to
If you're damn near a genius,
snitch in person. God damn.
come on. So between June and July of 1973, the trio killed another 7 victims between the ages of 15 and 20. Out of those 7, at least 5 of them Henley either abducted or murdered. So yeah, at this point, he had the itch. So June 4th, 1973, 15-year-old Billy Lawrence, a friend of Henley's, was abducted, and for 3 days he was abused and tortured and strangled to death at a new home base in Pasadena and buried at Lake Sam Rayburn.
Dang.
While being held captive, Dean forced Billy to write the following letter: "Dear Daddy, I have decided to go to Austin because I have got a good job offer. I am sorry that I decided to leave, but I just had to go. P.S. I will be back in late August. Hope you understand, but I had to go. Daddy, I hope you know I love you. Your son, Billy." That's diabolical.
What?
Yes,
Oh, bro.
that was the handwritten letter that he made. So his dad wouldn't go looking for him.
It's a special place in hell for motherfuckers
Yeah.
like that. God dang,
Yeah.
bro. Make the man write a letter to his papa.
Yes. So less than 2 weeks later, 20-year-old Raymond Blackburn was hitchhiking and was abducted and strangled and buried at Lake Sam Rayburn, which was right before the abduction and murder of 15-year-old South Houston Bay South Houston boy Homer Garcia, who was shot on July 7th, 1973.
It's over.
That was usually the 22 waving that little thing around. Pew pew.
Blew that nigga jaw off.
So on July 12th, I think the things about the July ones, I had to write the date because I was like, please, gosh, don't let it be on my birthday.
Wow, you had to just avoid. A lot of people died on your birthday.
Nuh-uh.
In history.
Nuh-uh.
I'll look it up.
Prove it.
I can Google it right now.
Don't. So on July 12th and 19th, John Sellers and Michael Balch were killed. Michael was the younger brother of previous murder victim Billie Jean Balch.
So
Jr.
wait, this is like the third one that I've heard was 2 at a time.
Yeah, they like to do twofers. This is what I'm saying. You and your friends would have been goners because they didn't care.
That's fucked up,
Because
bro.
if 3 of y'all are coming, that means you can potentially hold down at least 3 people.
Yeah, when I'm thinking back at how many people's random houses we went into to
Yep.
go do drugs
Yep.
and get high
Yep.
and hang out for the day.
You're bad. You were putting your life on the line.
And sometimes it was older dudes,
Yeah, you put yourself at risk a lot there, buddy.
especially when it was with the drugs. Like it was this dude named Ron. He did crystal. Hang out with this dude, like 30 something. He was like 16, but he had a fiance and a kid or whatever. He just liked to do crystal. And
Wait, were you doing crystal?
no, Robert was doing crystal. But I was
Oh.
doing something. I was doing something else, but you know what I'm saying? That's another story.
You have a lot of other stories.
I was over there with Pops. We was on that yay.
Good Lord. Oh, okay. So did you hear that Michael Balch was the younger brother of a previous victim, Billie Jean Balch Jr.?
He had that yay?
So they was taking out siblings.
Damn, bro.
Yeah. So Henley lured 2 more friends.
Took out the whole yay plug.
I would not want to be friends with this guy because, like, everybody can get it. So he lured 2 more friends named Charles Cobble and Marty Jones to home base, where they were presumably held captive for 2 days. Then Cobble was shot and James was strangled. Then both were buried at the boat shed. On August 3rd, Brooks and Carol, without Henley, abducted and killed a 13-year-old boy named James Dramala, who was strapped to Coral's torture board, raped, obviously tortured, and strangled, then buried in the boat shed. So now we're getting into the meat of it.
God
Okay.
dang, bro. The little boy, 13.
Because now we're at 1973, August 8th.
Bro, that's so many bodies, man. God dang.
Yes. But this is going to be the last party. The last party. So,
School's out forever.
I know the song, but I don't know the rest of the words.
I'm sleepy.
Okay. So, 1973, August 8th, Henley lured another potential victim, 19-year-old Timothy Curley, back to Dean's apartment under the promise of a party. Just when Dean was ready to pounce on Curley and handcuff him to the torture board, Henley and Curley left to go get sandwiches. I think Henley was like, you know what? I'm actually tired of killing people. Like, let's go get some sandwiches.
But you know what? Is highly underused in this episode, and I'm upset
I
about
know
it.
there's a lot of moments where you're like,
Like seriously, like for real.
like pause for real. Okay, so when they returned, they brought back a teenage girl, 15-year-old named Rhonda Williams. This completely threw Dean off. He privately told Henley he had ruined everything, but Dean stayed calm, cool, and collected. Once Henley...
Because bro brought a girl to the spot?
Yes, because he was gay.
Okay, but I'm not.
Okay,
We're
but
murdering.
this
Well, no,
isn't about
just
you.
hear me out. Hear me out. We're a murdering trio. I've assisted you in collecting how many butts
Numerous
and
bodies.
at this point?
Numerous.
Can I have some happiness in my life?
No, because it's not about you. It's about me.
God dang, bruh.
Yeah, I'm channeling Dean
Sociopath,
right now. This is
narcissistic
not
ass
your
mother-
party. This is my party, and we're gonna do what I want, not what you want. Okay. So so once Henley, Curly, that just threw me off. That just made me think of the Three Stooges. So once Henley, Curly, and Williams fell asleep, Dean binded and gagged all three of them. So now he's turning on Henley. He's like, "Fuck you! You ruined my party. You gotta go too."
You brought the clam through, bro?
So Henley was awakened to Dean handcuffing his wrist. All three were laid alongside one another. Dean dragged Henley into the kitchen by the cuffs and threatened him with a 22. A pew pew. Okay. A 22 caliber pistol to his stomach. Henley begged for his life and promised if released he would help with the torture and murder of Curly and Williams. Curl agreed. You got a deal. Curl untied Henley, carried Curly and Williams into his bedroom and tied them to opposite sides of the torture board. Curly on his stomach and Williams on her back. I feel like you have something retarded to say. Wrong word. Ridiculous to say.
I think retarded is back.
No.
I think they brought retarded back. I think now that Trump is president again.
It's okay to say because it pertains to certain people.
No, like legit. I think it's back.
Because he says it all the time?
I think so. I don't know. I saw something about it on CNN or something like that.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so Dean handed Henley a knife and commanded him to cut off Curly's clothes so he could grape him, and Henley grape Williams. So like you were saying, you was like, we can all have fun here, guy.
But she gotta go.
Well,
But I'm just like, bro, he actually brought his actual friends. They just trying to have a good time at the spot. You are just, I don't understand how this Dean dude was just so evil. He couldn't just let his boy have a little fun.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
And you could have just cussed him out after.
No.
And made him get you 2 or 3 niggas at one time to make it up for him. You know what I mean? But no. Bro, you brought a clam? Ain't no fish at my party, bro.
No tuna melts around here.
No.
So Dean handed Henley a knife and commanded him to cut off. I already said that, didn't I? Did I say that?
Yeah, the man to cut off the clothes.
Yeah.
So you can get in that.
So as Henley cut off Curl. So as Henley cut, Curl set the pistol on the table, the one that he had shoved in his gut just a minute ago, and undressed and climbed on top of Curly. He was ready to go. So as Curl assaulted Curly, Henley started cutting away Williams' clothes, and she popped her head up and asked, "Was this for real?" To which Henley agreed. Then Williams asked him, was he going to do anything about it? To which Henley grabbed the pistol and shouted, You've gone far enough, Dean," ordering Dean to stop. Okay.
Oh, shit.
So Dean wasn't afraid of Henley, so he walked right up to him, dick swinging, and said, "Kill me, Wayne." You won't do it.
What happened?
Okay, so from there, Henley shot and hit Curl in the forehead, which didn't phase Curl, who kept coming.
Fatality.
Nope, that wasn't it.
What?
No, that didn't kill him. So that
So it's
didn't
just
phase
a-
him.
It's just a
Finish him.
No.
no finish
Yes.
him. Yeah.
Yes, he still had something to go.
Okay.
So, like I said, he hit him in the forehead. Dean kept coming at Henley. So he shot 2 more times. They landed in his shoulder. Dean now staggered out of the room. Henley fired 3 more shots to the rear of his shoulder, right rear, and the upper back, which finally killed Dean.
That little ass 22 wasn't doing shit.
Yeah.
God dang, that shit wasn't no. It was
No.
really like a.
Yeah. It wasn't doing shit. He had, in total, what? He shot him 1, 2, 3, 6 times. He
The
shot him
first
6
shot
times
was in the head.
in the forehead.
Should have shot him in the eyeball,
But it was a 22, a pew, pew, pew.
bruh. Should have
I'm
shot
so-
that nigga in the eyeball.
She said, "Hold up, it's a chopper."
We're not doing that right now.
But it was a pew pew pew. It was a 22.
Definitely was a.
Yes. So this is the confession. So on August 8th in the evening, Henley confessed to police that for almost 3 years, he and David Brooks helped lure teenage boys, some of whom were their friends, for Dean. He stated that since the winter of 1971, he actively participated in the abduction and later murders of Dean's victims. He confessed that Brooks was also an active participant even longer than he was.
So he couldn't get out of this without snitching on himself. He couldn't.
He probably said, "Screw it, the jig's up."
He couldn't just say, "Yeah, bro, I went to the homie house and we woke up like this, and he was trying to get
I
us,
woke up like this.
and I tricked him and
I
killed
woke
him."
up like this.
Like he didn't try to play it off.
Nope. He just said, "This is what happened. This is the nitty gritty. This is the meat and potatoes of the situation."
I think bro just felt bad. Like he's an actual human.
Yeah.
He knew what the fuck he did was wrong,
Yeah.
and he wanted to atone for his shit.
Yes. He confessed that Brooks was even longer than he was. He confessed that he and Brooks were paid $200 per victim by Curl. He also told police that Curl had buried most of their victims in a boat shed in southwest Houston and the others at Lake Sam Rayburn and High Island Beach. He agreed to show the police where the burial sites were to assist in the recovery of the bodies. Between August 8th and 13th, a total of 27 boys between the ages of 13 years old and 20 years old were discovered at the 3 locations. In 1983, so this is what,
That's
like
a
10
lot
years,
of people. How many?
27.
God damn.
Yeah.
bro.
So in 1983, an additional victim was discovered. Brooks later confirmed the 3 locations as well. 17 bodies were found at the boat shed, 4 at Lake Rayburn, 6 at High Island Beach. A 7th lies undiscovered. And the 28th was found in 1983 at Jefferson County Beach in August.
So wait, it was another one?
So in total, it was 28 victims.
God dang,
Yeah.
bro.
So all victims were found. All victims found were discovered to have been sexually tortured, in addition to sexually assaulted. During the autopsies, the manner of death was either strangulation, shooting, or a combination of both. How do you shoot and look? So you didn't have enough strength that day. He was like, just do the pew pew, and that was it.
They're using that little bitch ass 22. That shit ain't killing the motherfucker, so the motherfucker will probably be like fucked up. But they don't be dead, so you gotta strangle them.
Well, yeah, clearly, if you shot him in the forehead and nothing happened, he wasn't phased by
Or
it.
maybe you just the opposite. Maybe you strangling and you get tired of strangling and you gotta shoot a nigga.
So I say, wasn't strong enough for today. He was just like, cap him.
So motherfucker bust a nut and be weak.
Look, I don't have. Well, I can't say I don't have them problems. 'Cause, yeah, everybody should go try those honey packs.
What?
Yeah,
Pause.
yeah.
Pause.
You should definitely get you a honey
Nigga,
pack.
you ain't sticking that shitty ass dick up in Erica, nigga.
Honey pack. You gonna have a good night.
They ain't paying us. Don't be giving them no advertising.
Please sponsor me.
Into sponsorship here.
During Henley's trial in 1974, one of the 6 bodies found at High Island, 70-year-old Manning Sellers, was disputed of being Dean's victim due to his manner of death. Shot 4 times by rifle and found bound hand and foot, not strangled, but Henley explained and confessed. So he said, no, it was me.
Oh, so he owned up to his little body that he got.
Yeah. So remember, he confessed on the 8th, and between the 8th and the 13th, he told his story. He pointed them to where they were, and they found all the bodies. Well, they found a majority of them. They found 26 of them by the 13th, right? So on August 13th, 1973, a grand jury convened in Harris County and heard evidence from both Rhonda Williams and Tim Curley, who testified to the events on August 7th and 8th, because they were held for quite a while, leading to the shooting of Dean, plus the testimony of various police who recited the handwritten statement of Henley and Brooks and described how they led them to the bodies. The jury heard testimony from survivor Billy Rittinger about the 1972 abduction, torture, and abuse from the trio. We never went over his stuff. I never heard nothing about him. He got away. There was a survivor. The jury initially...
So wait, this dude ran away. Did he didn't say nothing?
Nope. Would
Yeah.
you? You'd be like, yeah, these guys, they offered me weed, and then they were like, oh, put your hands in some handcuffs, and I did it, and then they beat me up and raped me.
I mean, if I survived,
I feel like a dude would be like, you know what? I'm just going to not hang out with weird people anymore.
I hear what you're saying. Most dudes, yeah, realistically, I probably would just die with my shame.
Yeah, I'm not telling nobody. Because, like, first of all, you're going to go home and tell your dad that? Nope, not in 1973, you're not.
But then again, when I think about it, fuck all that. Nigga like me, we getting some get back.
He said, I want my reparations
All 3 of them is gone by tomorrow.
tomorrow. I'm telling.
I ain't gonna tell. I'm gonna get them.
Oh, pew pew. You gonna hit him with the pew pew?
No, I ain't gonna hit him with no damn pew pew. What is wrong with you?
You not gonna hit him with the pew pew?
No. What are you doing?
You not gonna...
No, it's...
Oh. You gonna hit him with chopper.
And then...
Chopper. That's what you gonna do? Sorry, that's stuck in my head for the day.
I should have gave y'all a warning for that, but yeah.
Yeah, because that was a little aggressive.
Them niggas need that. Like, you ain't gonna take my buns and
Right,
think it's
and
gonna
I
be,
know where you hiding out at, too.
Yeah, it ain't gonna be peace
You're
in the
coming
land.
back with all the homies.
There's no peace in the land after that, bro. You done took my buns, took my dignity and my manhood. Like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, that is true. I'm just saying, but are you gonna go? Nobody's gonna go tell the police after that. But probably once it was all in the news, you was like, yeah, he got me too.
No, I'll shut the fuck up.
Well, I don't know.
If I didn't do nothing then, I ain't saying shit. Or I ain't raising my hand. I was a victim.
Me
No,
too.
It's okay.
No. Nope. So the jury initially indicted Henley on 3 counts of murder and Brooks on 1 count of murder. Bail was $100K. Now remember, this is 1973, so $100K was like $1 million bond.
$100 million.
$1 million. Okay, so Dean's death was ruled self-defense, so Henley wasn't charged. But he was charged with the murder of the peoples.
So the other 28 bodies.
Yeah. So on October 8, 1973, Henley and Brooks were brought in for a formal arraignment where Henley was charged with 6 counts of murder and Brooks with 4 counts. They both pled not guilty.
How?
They said it wasn't me. The 4 you're trying to stick me with, I didn't do.
Wow.
Yeah. So the trial and conviction and appeal. So in July of 1974, Henley went to trial in San Antonio, Texas, and was found guilty on July 16, 1974, and after 1 hour of deliberation, sentenced to 6 consecutive 99-year of imprisonment. Damn. Wait.
Yeah, you're doing the math in your head, huh?
So it's like 500. 4 years?
He ain't never coming home.
Yeah,
is
no.
the answer.
No. Okay, so on July 25th, Henley's
Hey, but you know
lawyers.
what I always wondered though?
What?
When you get years like that, when they give them 9 life sentences and shit like that, or when they give you like 400 years or something like that, does that mean when you die, they got to keep your body in the prison?
Yep.
Like, is that what that means?
Yep. I think so.
Your body can't get released to
Or
the
they got a
family?
way of bringing your ass back and making you serve the rest of them years.
I was
They just keep you in the dark, deep cell. Nah, bro, you finishing your sentence.
I don't know. I was always curious about that. It's like, dude, that mean my body gotta stay here?
Well,
man?
they got look. You be over here talking about them hyperbaric chambers and stuff like that. So how you know they don't do it for the prisoners? Like, nah, bro, you gonna serve this 400 years?
No, they gonna let the nigga die.
Nah. The way they be spending our money, nah. All they need is one bare chamber. Okay, so, like I said, on July 25th, Henley's lawyers appealed and won. So on December 20th of 1978, he was
Wait, they won what?
the appeals
For what?
to get the stuff overturned that he didn't do the 6. So on December 20th, 1978, his conviction was overturned and he was resentenced in June of 1979 and received the same 6 life sentences, but instead of consecutive, they ran concurrent.
So just one life sentence, basically.
Pretty much, but he was never going to be able to get out, you know. Elmer Wayne Henley became eligible for parole on July 8th of 1980 and was denied as he would be at every parole hearing in the future. Henley's next parole hearing is in October of 2025 because he's still alive. And he will be 69 years old. Henley is incarcerated at the Stiles Unit in Jefferson County. David Brooks was tried for the June 1973 of Billy Ray Lawrence in February of 1975, and he was convicted and sentenced to life on March 4th. Brooks died from COVID-19 complications in May of 2020.
Now, I don't know. I kind of would say give dude parole, because I don't believe in making motherfuckers spend their life in prison. But I'm pretty sure the families would be like, because you got to think about it. He didn't want to kill these niggas. He helped. He probably killed a couple of them, but it wasn't because he wanted them dead. You know what I mean? He was helping the weird dude and getting money.
Yeah.
But
Now,
at the same time, you did that, bro, and that took them people's lives, and them families is probably still mad.
okay,
so.
but either Timothy or Rhonda said.
But then at the same time, you got these stupid motherfuckers, the Menendez people, brothers,
Hey.
people was trying to free them right now.
Yeah, because they said they were kind of had to do it. They didn't have a choice.
That's wild though. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. It's
I feel like he should have gotten a little bit of slack because the dude, Timothy, that was in the room with Rhonda, who was getting raped by Dean, the last one, he said, Wayne saved our lives that night. It was terrifying, but he did what he had to do. I'll always be grateful for him for that. That should have, held some weight.
yeah, he did, but he didn't save the other 28. So instead of it being 30,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like, all right, bro, you saved your friends. And that's commendable. You know what I'm saying? That should get him a lot of grace. I guess that's why he's eligible for parole. But at the end of the day, I do think that they should probably grant it to the nigga because he's old now. He probably can't do too much anyway. But
Yeah.
like I said, them families, they won't forgive.
Apparently, he has been in prison reflecting on his actions and the events that led to his involvement in the murders. So, Henley has participated in interviews and documentaries expressing remorse and acknowledging his responsibilities. He has also worked with investigators to provide information on the victims, demonstrating a willingness to assist in bringing closure to the families affected by the crimes.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. In a way,
Yeah.
he's a victim too, in a way.
Yeah. From it was a prison statement of his. He said, I'll never be able to undo what I did, but I hope that by helping identify the victims, I can at least bring some peace to their families. So let's see. We're going to get into the legacy and impact. So the Houston mass murders and Henley's role in them left a lasting impact on the community and the nation. The case highlighted the vulnerabilities of youth and the dangers of predatory adults. It also sparked discussions about the psychological manipulation of accomplices in criminal activities because sometimes you can be manipulated into being an accomplice. It's true.
Yeah.
Okay. So, a sociologist said Henley's story is a cautionary tale about the power dynamics in abusive relationships. It underscores the importance of understanding how manipulation can lead individuals to commit acts they would never have considered on their own. So, the legacy of the Houston mass murders is one tragedy and a reminder of the complexities of human behavior in the face of manipulation and coercion. What do you think? What's your 2 cents?
Well, I have to tell you.
Gee willikers, Batman.
No, on some real talk, you know, this story is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
I
there's a
know,
lot going on there.
I know the real killer here was Dean, but Wayne was a dummy.
But he was a genius.
No, he was smart. That don't mean he wasn't a dummy.
Yeah, because you should have just kept on ignoring him. Well,
Yeah.
no, you never should have took the $200.
That's what I'm saying. It should have never came down to your homies getting ready to get their little cheeks poked, and you gotta rape your homegirl
For you to finally
for
say
you to
enough is
finally
enough.
get it. Like, oh wait, this is not like, bro, that's nasty.
And Rhonda wasn't actually a homegirl. She was just somebody they picked up when they went out to get sandwiches.
Whatever.
Invited her back for a party. Maybe it was because it was a girl. He was like, "This is wrong."
I don't think that's what it was. But she the one who spoke life into that nigga. She the
Yeah.
one that said, "Aren't you gonna do anything, bro? Like, you about to let this go down like this?"
Yeah,
You
you
know,
would
not,
think that
not
when it
knowing
was
this
his
is
friends, it would have stopped it.
this is his everyday get down. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like, bro, you done caught
bodies.
assisted in how many before you were even 18?
2 dozen.
Before you 18, bro?
2 dozen.
That's nasty. But like I said, at the end of the day, he was a victim as well because even though he was smart, he allowed himself to be manipulated.
Yeah, he allowed himself to become a victim.
And he could have been stood up to do, you know what I'm saying? He
Well,
could-
like it said, Dean wasn't afraid. Well, he wasn't intimidated by Henley. So at a certain point, it's like when you're a father-son dynamic and you at one point respected this person, you're not going to go and, you know, put your chest out to that person until you build up the balls to do it.
it just makes me question if Dean ever got him.
I don't think he did. Well, I don't know.
man.
Well, you never know.
It's a lot, bro.
Because if you would have got him, you would have murdered him.
$200 be damned. You know, that's a lot of money for that time or whatever.
And
but
that
still.
age.
But still, that's like, god dang, bro.
Sometimes people turn their humanity off.
And it's not like you just getting the money and turning your back and walking the other direction while whatever happens to the dudes happen to them.
Right, you
No,
watch.
you are there. You're watching. You're witnessing. You're participating in the murders. You're burying the bodies. You're doing everything. So, like I said, that's a lot. And then, on the other hand, you gotta look at these Houston PD. Once again, we got trash ass police department.
Hey, because ain't that the other one that wasn't he in Houston too? Curl?
I think so.
Yep.
Well, he was all over though. That dude was
But he
everywhere.
got caught in Dallas, I think it was.
Oh, it was Vegas.
No. He
Well,
did-
whatever. That's
yeah.
another story. But my point is, the police is trash. Now I get it. It's the 70s.
They were a lot more trusting.
You know, this was the time where boys got 18, they got up and left the house and roamed the country, and you hear from them, through postcards,
yeah,
or
whenever they settle down.
or
and-
whenever they become a success. You know what I'm saying? They come back. Now, you have that going on, and then you have the Vietnam War, people draft dodging, so they
Yeah.
going into hiding, disappearing, and stuff like that.
Or they could have enlisted in.
Them things
Happens.
being considered, the police is still trash because you talking about
28 people that went missing.
28, 30
Nobody-
people in the Houston area. Not people, kids, all under the
Yeah.
age of 18, go missing.
20.
What?
They were under the age of 20. The oldest one was 20.
They all go missing in 2 years time?
Yeah.
and y'all don't notice nothing. Ain't no investigation
Ain't
going
no
on.
like, this seems a little fishy.
If Dean hadn't finally grew some nuts and grew a pair and sniped out, I mean, if Wayne ain't sniped out Dean after he grew a pair, we would have never, you know what I'm saying, had to stop to this. It would have been more.
Yeah.
So that's just disheartening that we pay all this money and all police can do is shoot black people. Like, god dang, bro.
And deport people.
Yeah, now that's the new thing. We spending all this money now for people to get kicked out.
The people who are
And
actually
then it's
working the
like-
hardest.
Stupid thing when you look at that, not to be all political, but let's say we do go into a war. We done kicked out half the people that can help us fight.
What we gonna do?
We gonna send out the drones.
No, they're gonna do a draft.
It don't matter if somebody like China got 1 billion people and we got 350 million and we kicking out everybody.
That is true.
And they got
Numbers
drones
are
too.
dwindling.
But anyway, I digress. You know what I'm saying? And then back to Wayne. What the fuck was going on in dude's life where he didn't have nightmares about this shit?
He turned his humanity off. If you was ready to enlist in the Navy, you have to be prepared to turn your humanity off. He turned it off for the money because
You
it
know
was
what I'm
helping
saying?
his family survive.
Like, I understand the Dean character was narcissistic, manipulating, and what's the other word?
Conniving?
No, like sociopath. All
Yeah.
those things combined is very, very dangerous.
Yes.
But at the same time, how could you keep doing this shit?
Well, like you said, like it said, he at one point figured it as I'm saving my brothers from him by doing this.
But at the same time, did this dude like doing this? Is what I'm trying to get at.
Well, maybe because like we said, he did the solo mission. So
So that's what I'm saying. At a certain point,
because
dude-
if you
dude-
did a solo mission and Dean wasn't involved in it, you just did that because you felt like doing it.
he just because he knew he could.
Yeah, because
He
you
knew
didn't
he
get
had-
the $200
he
for that
knew-
one.
He knew he was capable.
Yeah. So at a certain point, he did turn into a serial killer, and like I said, the humanity gets shut off. It's gone.
And that's why I say, to a certain extent, y'all kind of do need to get a man parole because he was a kid and he was dumb when he did this shit, and he do show remorse. But at the same
Right.
time, I'm torn because nigga, what the fuck, bro? You didn't feel bad after the third one, fourth one, fifth one?
Hey, remember, he
Sixth
did
one?
at some point tell him to stop. He did try to get him to stop.
Like the little 13-year-old, bro.
Yes, he tried to get him to stop, but he wouldn't.
But that's what I'm saying. That's
But
when
you
you
kept
don't.
going.
You keep going with
Yeah,
him.
you
You know what I
kept
mean?
going.
Like,
So I think that's kind of what keeps getting him denied, because it's like you had so many opportunities to stop it, and
well,
you
it's,
didn't.
it's a fascinating story, and every character involved needs to be delved into because
Yeah,
the
because you
Brooks
got to get
dude,
into Dean Brooks too.
they never do the Brooks dude side of things really. We always hear from Wayne,
Yeah, because we were talking about Wayne.
so we need to see what's going on with the Brooks dude. And like I said, bro, this shit did remind me a lot of John Wayne Gacy. He had the same type of MO, the little handcuff trick. Like I said, I think that's in the little handbook. The
There's
little-
a handbook.
Yes, there is actually. I'm not trying to promote that, so no, there's not. But yeah. Just
Well-
remind me a lot of him. Same MO, except instead of burying the little bodies underneath, you know what I'm saying?
Bullshit.
Underneath,
That's
yeah,
what
the
it was, a
house. It
boat
was
shed.
in the boat shed. So
And
it's
he
a
had
lot of that
multiple.
MO.
He had multiple locations that he buried him at. But at a certain point, like even the other people that was at the boat shed, didn't y'all smell something funny?
And then it's like, bro, and even when you look at the Dean dude and John Wayne Gacy, well, especially I'm thinking about the Dean dude. You spending $200 to do all that instead of killing a motherfucker. Why don't you just go buy a fun boy?
Because he didn't want him for that long. The thrill was part of the thrill was part of the killing. Killing was part of the thrill.
Well, I'm glad Wayne did what he did, and
Yeah.
that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I really don't got no 2 cents because you kind of said it all. So thank you for joining us on this journey into one of America's most haunting true crime stories. If you found this episode compelling, please subscribe and leave a review. Join us next time as we uncover more chilling tales from the an- annals of true crime history. Until then, stay safe and stay curious.